Welcome back to the DNA Pest Control Podcast with Daniel and
Aaron.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Today's going to be a short one. It'll be quick, to the point. Hopefully we don't go off on little rants here and there. Aaron has no idea what we're talking about today.
His grin is concerning right now.
No, it's actually, it's not really that, it's not bad.
Cool.
It's all good. It's all good. So if you went back and listened to the two previous episodes, we talked about the new year, the goals, and really getting into accomplishing those goals for this year, right?
Yep.
And over this week, we kind of talked about, and over this week, it's only been a couple of days, right? But we talked about something really crucial yesterday in your office, if you remember it or not.
We talked about a lot.
Okay, perfect. So you don't remember. That's great.
I don't. Yeah.
Not specifically. We did talk about a lot. So one thing that really kind of stood out during our conversation, and then I started reflecting back on the two episodes that we did do, we talked about goals, but we also talked about getting into possibly a new position or a raise or whatever it may be,
Sure.
right? And a lot of people may put that goal down, and it's easier said than done.
Right.
Right? So it's, okay, I want to be a manager, but how?
Okay.
Or I want to do this, but how? Or what do they look for? And so today I wanted to talk about more on an insider perspective of what I personally look for in somebody in a management position or in a leadership position or just as a regular tech position, right? And I think a lot of people don't talk about that. I think, at least I don't hear it.
Yeah, you think it's just glazed over, like people aren't aware of it, or are they just...
I don't think people want to bring it to light on the truth.
Okay.
That's what I think it is.
Yeah.
Because... we'll go McDonald's, for example.
There we go.
They're not going to listen.
Oh, man.
They don't care. They're not using our services anyway.
It's all right.
So, once they do, I'll take this episode away. So, no. But for that example, right, they're looking for someone to put fries in some grease.
Okay.
There's literally zero skill behind that. I mean, I guess you have to have some arms to be able to do it, but...
Good start.
Yeah. But other than that, like if you're an able body, you can do it. They don't care what you've studied in the past. They don't care what your skill sets are. They really don't care. They're not asking you that. What are your accomplishments? I don't care. Just freaking fill the thing up, put the fries in, throw some salt on it, put it in a little plastic thing, and we're good. That's all it is.
You just need to show up.
You need to show up. You need to do the work, right? So that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about, if you've been stuck in a technician position or you've been stuck in a sales position and it seems like you're just spinning your wheels over and over and over and you really haven't been able to get out of that, why? And what's that? How do you do that? And what's that step? Or where do you need to go? Or what's that process? Because I do think people do say that. It's I want to grow, I want to do this. But how? What do I do?
Yeah, off the top of my head, I see it as a lack of direction, like your inner compass, and even though you can have all these goals written down and it's great, we just talked about this.
Yeah.
But putting the plan to action, getting from point A to point B is, and I know you say this a lot, but it's a lot easier said than done. We were talking about, my position in the future and how there could be multiple and what I would end up doing, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of steps that need to be done in between that point, right? There's a lot of work that has to be done in between that point.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's they don't want to talk about the work or do the work, but they just want to get from A to B.
Yes. Yeah. And I see that too. Because I saw a little short clip as someone was talking to, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. He's a billionaire. He invests money. God, what's his name? I'm drawing a blank. I can't think of it. He's a big investor.
We'll come back to it.
Yeah, we'll come back to it. God, well, I can't. It's gonna bug me now. And his name is anyway. So he was in like a conference or some setting like that, and somebody raised their hand and they asked and they said, okay, well, how do you make $1 million? And he stopped them and said, well, you're looking at it all wrong. It's not how do you make $1 million. It's how do you make 10,000. And then how do you make 20,000? And then how do you make 50,000? And then how do you make 100,000? And then 250,000 and then 500. And then you get to the million. Stop looking at these big numbers or these big positions and saying, well, how do I get there? Yeah, right now. How do I do that now?
Yeah.
It's not that simple. It's not, you're just going to make it overnight. Everyone can do the math on $1 million. Well, how much do you need to make every day? And blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But once again, it's easier said than done. It's easy to write it down on a piece of paper, but what are you doing day in and day out?
Yeah.
And also, what are the higher ups looking at? Because that's the other thing. People can make $1 million in a year, but what are they bringing to the table? What is the world needing at this time so that they can pay you for that?
True. I see what you mean.
So I can come up with a bottle of water, but what's special about it? Is it in a metal can? Is it in, a little cardboard thing, that's reusable, whatever, it's what am I bringing to the table? So I think when people look at it as I want to become a technician manager, what do I need to do or how am I going to do it? Well, I'm going to make it so there's the least amount of callbacks. Well, no, now you're just a really good tech. Okay. You're not a manager. You're just a good tech.
Yeah.
I want to do the best services, the fastest. I want to take on the most work. Okay. Now you're a hard worker.
Yeah.
You're not a manager. You're a hard worker.
Big difference.
There's a big difference. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Is people look at that and say, well, I want to get to this position or I want to be a business owner. Great. That's easy. Go online, apply to be a business owner, pay the $40, $50 or $100. And now you became a business owner.
Congrats.
You're not making any money, but you just became a business owner.
Yeah.
Good job. So, but that's what I mean is when we are defining those goals or those position changes, what are they looking for? What is management looking for? What are owners looking for? And I guess in your experience in the past, what have you done to grow within a company or what have you done that really changed that and it was a pivotal moment that you saw? And maybe you don't know, but I'm asking you.
No, I think the thing that comes to my mind is skill set, investing in myself, increasing my knowledge. You can always be better, at least in the industry we're in, and in most things. There's always room for improvement.
Oh, yeah.
But my point is, let's take this position, for example. When I came here to work in the office, I wanted to do more of the sales side. I wanted to increase my knowledge, get my branch 2 license. It's been phenomenal.
Yeah.
Right? Just the doors that's opened. Now I'm doing rodent estimates, cockroach estimates. I'm going to all these commercial properties. It's been great. I think that people, we talked about it a lot on the past 2 episodes too, but that knowledge and skill set can come from a lot of different things. And I think in sales specifically, just doing the work itself, I learned a ton about rejection and resiliency and objection training from knocking doors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I got a lot more versed in that side of it by actually doing the work, whereas there's other places where you can invest more time, whether that's, riding along with an experienced technician or hiring a sales coach or, whatever industry it is, there's resources to get better at what you're doing.
And you nailed it on the head because that is exactly one of the things I wanted to talk about is investing in yourself and always being willing to learn. And I think that is another one people oversee.
Yeah.
It's I gained experience in rodents. I know how to do rodent work. I'm done. Don't talk to me. I don't need to know anything more. I know how to do it. Yeah, but there's so much changing. And so once you close yourself off, you literally hit the ceiling of your knowledge and you hit the ceiling of your growth.
Yeah.
Because that's what people don't understand is when you stop filling your head with knowledge, you stop growing and there is no more room.
Yeah.
There is nothing above that. It doesn't matter how much you hone in that one skill, because if somebody knows more than you and they're willing to learn and they're willing to try something different, they just surpassed you. I could be the best person on a typewriter. Guess what? That does nothing for me today because I wasn't willing to learn how to type on a computer.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
You know, and that's what I mean is you're not willing. Companies, they're on paper. I am the best paper company. I run my entire company off of these little blue slips. I'm the best at it. Well, you get a smaller company, even a crappier company.
Yeah.
But if they're willing to learn a system and they get on a system that automates all that, guess what? Their expenses are nothing and they just passed you.
Yeah.
And they're going to pass you really, really fast. And we've seen it and I'm seeing it, you know, just with us compared to some of these older companies. They've been around 30 years and we blow them out of the water.
Exactly. What is that translating to though? You know?
Yeah. So with people, when you're putting in, and I'll go off of personal, what I personally am looking for when it comes to a technician or technician manager and someone who's willing to grow into that is what we talked about yesterday. It's, are you willing to learn? Are you willing to keep changing and not only do the work? That's easy.
Sure.
Doing the work's the easy part. But are you going to be that reliable person on a consistent basis and not just talk about it, but actually do it?
Show up.
That's huge, right? Because when you become that reliable person, that's when everything starts to change. When you become, hey, you know what? I don't know anything and I want to learn and I want to keep learning because I still don't know. You just became more valuable than everybody else.
Exactly.
So when somebody puts in that goal, you know, and we're still just fresh into January, so this is perfect. And you put that as, hey, I want to become this. I want to become the technician manager, the assistant manager. Don't be a good worker. Don't be the best technician. They're going to keep you there, I promise.
Yeah, exactly.
You become the best technician, they're just going to want to keep you at tech because they're not going to find anybody better than you. So don't become the best. And that sounds counterproductive. Most people are going to look at that and say, well, that's dumb. So what? I'm going to be a crappy tech? No. Don't be a crappy tech. You can still be a really good tech. Your focus just shouldn't be on the tech work. It should be focused on what's an assistant manager doing? What is that manager doing?
I like that.
What does that workload look like? Right? And focus on that. It's leadership. Yeah. It's guiding other technicians. So what are you going to do at meeting days? Guide other technicians. You're going to be the guy who's stepping up and helping everybody out. You're going to be the guy showing that leadership because when they go down and say, hey, this guy's going to retire, we need a new manager. Who is it? Well, so-and-so at every meeting is telling them to wash their trucks and restock and is checking everything and making sure it's all good and bringing guys into the office, making sure they're dropping off checks and cash and all that. Okay. Well, guess what? That's the guy.
Yeah.
Is he a great tech? Yeah, he's good. He's not the best, but we don't need him there. We need him as a manager. We don't want him as a tech.
Yeah.
He gets the jobs done. He has callbacks just like everybody else, but his leadership skills is showing way more than everybody else's. And that's where I'm talking about. That's what they're looking at. Yeah. So when people are putting those goals, most people say, I'm going to work my ass off. I'm going to put in the hours. I'm going to just do all this stuff. But at the end of the day, that's not what they're looking for.
Yeah.
They're not looking at the guy who's going to put in 80 hours a week. They don't care. They want the guy who has that leadership skill.
Yeah.
You know, so going off of it, I mean, you're right. That's exactly what I'm looking for is the skill sets. Are you willing to do that? But you have to choose the right skill sets.
Yeah. Just really investing time in yourself and your knowledge. You know, you went kind of on the tech side of it, but when you look at like a sales position, for example, you know, let's say you're great at cold calling, right? But you're not good at like face-to-face interactions, or there's some things you can improve on. Is there a way you can get better at that? Like, is there a systematic way, somebody you can bring on, somebody you can talk to, get a mentor? Okay, so now you're good at cold calling. Now you're better at emails. Now you're better at follow-ups. And you start diving into like the tax side of it. You start working with businesses, and it's like pretty soon you're a CFO.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like these things kind of compound on each other, and you can do that on the tech side of thing, on the sales side of thing. But I think it's very overlooked, investing in yourself.
Yes, I agree with that. And so that's a big one. And the other truth that I want to throw out there that nobody is willing to say, and I probably shouldn't either, but I don't care, because it needs to be thrown out there, is you do need people who just work. You do need people who just literally are there to be used and abused. And it sounds terrible, but UPS is king at it. FedEx is king on those things, is they run guys down to the ground and then they throw them away. They're just drivers their entire career. That's it. That's all they want them to do. That's all they need them to do. Right? And so those guys will never see anything bigger. They'll never see anything better than that. That's just what it is. And so if you're in that position, you love the tech work, there's nothing wrong with that, because you can be a phenomenal tech and really diversified in a lot of different things. And the company will use you in all those things.
Sure.
And they may treat you really well too, but a company needs that. Just like McDonald's needs someone to cook fries.
They need the bodies there.
They need the bodies. And so you always will be, they have high turnover, but there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
People know they've hit the ceiling. The only thing I'm going to be is maybe a shift manager, because they make up all these weird, names and position switches and everything like that.
Different colored shirt and all that good stuff.
Yeah, but that's to make you feel good.
Yeah.
To keep you there just another month, another couple months, maybe a year. And that's all it is. So if you're in that position, you're coming into the industry even fresh or new, or you've been in it for a couple years and you've just been that route tech, and your goal is to move up or to change or to shift, keep that in mind of what you're looking for. What are your eyes really looking at? Even for you, right? We talked about it is we're in a position, which is really cool, is we're so small, but we have so much potential. And so we can really create what we want to do in the future. Yeah. And it doesn't matter. There is nothing, it's not set in stone. And that could scare a lot People. But
it's cool.
No, exactly.
I think it's cool that there's no right or wrong answer. It's just like, where do we want to be at?
And that's exactly what it is. We're creating positions that never existed before. And so that's really the exciting part, because just because you came in at one point on one position, we created a whole nother position that wasn't even there.
Yeah.
I guess it kind of was, but it was all just, hidden
jumbled
under.
Up. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is it's really where do you put your mind when you are setting these goals. And it is that personal goal of, you're in the office, you may be just answering phone calls, but you want to be the office administrator. So getting a little bit more in depth on how to do that or what to look for is find out who's already doing it. Who's doing what? You want to be the salesman, right? You want to be the sales manager. Maybe you're already doing sales. So what does the sales manager position look like, and what does it entail?
Right.
The other thing that you always have to look for is, how aggressive is the company being? Because if I looked at it and I was a salesperson, I say, okay, look, sales manager, he's young, he's already got it locked in. There's no way I'm going to get that position. That's okay. I don't hate him for it. But now, how do I create it for myself? How ambitious are they going to be, and how can I create that?
Yeah.
One, I got to be able to take on those skills, have those skills and then take on those duties. But now, how do I create that position?
Yeah.
Is there a way to get another office over here where I can start doing my own sales on this? Maybe there's not a manager position, but at least I can sell until there is one, because now I created it.
Exactly.
So for everybody out there, think of where you want to be. Think of what you want to do, whether it's in the office, it's out in the field, on sales, if it's tech work, if it's a manager, whatever it may be. But I think it's looking at those things and saying, okay, I don't want to just be a really good technician. You can be the best tech. You're not going to be the best manager. So how do I become the best manager?
Right.
It's those questions that we ask. So I guess to wrap it up, unless you wanted to add something to this.
Just time and money, your biggest resources, use them.
Yeah.
Use them to get better now, because I've always heard that life is either easy now and hard later, or hard now and easy later. So let's put in the work now and, create something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So get out there, think of the question, think of what you want to be, and look at it differently. Don't hold yourself into the same position that you're at. It's look at what you want to be. If it is, it's a CFO or whatever it may be, you want to be over to a marketing team, or you want to be a regional manager, that's the next step we're looking at. It's what would a regional manager look like? What would that regional manager over sales look like? What would those duties be?
Yeah.
How would we get there? How many guys is he over? How many offices is that? What does that look like? What's that workload? And how do I start acting that way now? Because that will get created later.
Bingo.
Yeah. So definitely keep that in mind, especially coming in this year. There's so much time left in the year. There's so much time left in our lives. We can make it happen. So keep it in mind. Just remember, well, actually, one other quick thing. Whoever you're working for, or whoever you're partnered with, or whatever it may be, you do have to keep them in mind. That is one other thing I do want to say, because some owners may not look at you as a good manager. They may pull a good worker instead of a good manager.
Interesting. Okay.
So I don't want to say that, hey, be the best manager, because sometimes that may be overlooked. So you may have to look at a different position or a different place, unfortunately.
That's the way it is.
Or just find out and then become the best worker. Then they're going to pull you up anyway.
Yeah.
So there's a couple ways to look at it, but be open-minded on that. Get a little bit more strategic behind what you're putting on those positions, and those goals. Because that's where you're going to start seeing the fastest success in the shortest amount of time.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So there you go. It wasn't too bad, right?
No, I liked it.
Okay.
Easy, yeah.
So, just going off a little bit of what we talked about yesterday, which is cool.
Cool. It's very relevant too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So guys, everybody out there, remember, keep that in mind. Keep your goals in mind. Keep working hard for it. And also, whatever you are looking to be or to become, it's possible. Just remember, ask the right questions and be very strategic about what you're doing and how you're doing it. Don't be lazy. Don't just put your head down and grind through something with zero strategic, movement to that. There is a lot more than just, putting in the work to get to where you want. So thanks for listening to this short podcast. Aaron, I know you didn't get to say a ton.
No, thanks for listening.
So thanks for being here.
Exactly.
But thanks for listening to the DNA Pest Control Podcast.